Hey folks, Coach Andy here. Great to see everybody. Thursday live office hours. We've got a bit of an abbreviated session today. We're going to be on for 45 minutes. I usually like to go longer, but I got a really tight schedule today, but that's okay because I'm going to be live 20 hours over the next 8 or 9 days. So great to have you. Get in the chat, say hi, let me know where you're watching from, put some question marks in front of your questions. Let me know if you're in any of my programs. And we'll rifle through these questions today. It's going to be a straight Q&A. I've got a lot of work I'm doing on the resume writing workshop that we're starting on Monday. So first announcement here. If you've not registered for my resume writing workshop, it's free. Well, normally it's $500, but it's free next week. Monday through Friday. That's September 29th through October 3rd. It's free. Every day, there's no catch. You just show up. I'm starting at 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time. We'll run for 2 hours minimum, but most days are longer. But that's every day next week. And then the following week, I'm live for multiple hours a day on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, October 7th, 8th, and 9th with members of my job search coaching program. The resume writing workshop is free to sign up. Just register. And as soon as you register, like right now, like today, if you haven't already, I'm going to send you a welcome email with instructions. And in those instructions is going to be a download link to get your resume content builder, which is my souped up, totally awesome, not just resume template, but it's an entire booklet on how to capture your stories, how to write your resume, what information should go where. It's very, very deep. It's got a career achievements journal in it. It's just a super duper book, and it's free. And I only give it to members of my premium programs. But this time of year, I think everybody could use a little extra help. And so I want to get you all ready for what I have known to be the peak hiring season of the year in, year out. That's November through February. Those are the peak hiring months, contrary to what a lot of people think. So I want to make sure that we're doing the resume stuff in the beginning of October so you're in order and you can get that stuff up and running so you're not behind. Tell me I don't love you. Okay. Kara is going to be speaking of, can we all give Kara a shout out? She's going to be collecting your questions and feeding them to me. I don't see any point in waiting any longer, so let's get right to it. Let's see, Rob. Rob, this looks like a super duper question with a whole lot of characters in it. What approach do you suggest being used when a recruiter wants assurance that an applicant is willing to accept a salary in the quoted range, 140 to 160, when the applicant was hoping to get 200, but was willing to move to a bit lower depending on what opportunity? Okay, listen, here's the question. What do you want to say when the recruiter insists that you fit in the window that they're screening for? All you need to do, this is an always, 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 no exceptions. I have one exception, technically. Anytime a recruiter wants you to commit to a range, all you need to do is say, that sounds fine, let's get rolling. That's it. Don't say, I'm hoping for 200, I'm hoping for 175, I'm hoping for something outside the range. Geez, I can do a whole lot more. The recruiter does not have the final say in what you get paid. What the recruiter is doing is they're screening because they don't want to get you all the way down to the end only to find out that you're not comfortable with 160 max. But what I'm telling you is once they see you, they can't unsee you. And I'm talking about the hiring official, not the recruiter. The only thing you need to be concerned about with the recruiter is getting past the recruiter and having the recruiter set a great table for you with the hiring official. Once they see you, you can go through the interview process. You can sell your value. There's umpteen things that you need to do and not to do throughout the interviewing process to raise your value. When you get down to the end, you'll negotiate for what you're worth. And my inbox is littered on a daily basis with people sending me messages about how they got more money than the posted range because of the way they negotiated and the way they interviewed. So never, never negotiate with somebody who can only say no and cannot say yes. The only time the recruiter is the final say, generally speaking, is when they're recruiting you for their own team. So don't be concerned. And I'm all about the art of the possible, but I'm also all about never negotiating when my stock is the lowest. Meaning in the beginning, technically speaking, if you do it right, your stock is at the absolute lowest because they have not talked to you and they don't know what you can do other than what's on the sheet of paper you gave them that you call your resume. So you want to work your value up along the way. You want it peaking right when they're about to give you the offer. And then you're going to make all your statements, your arguments, your counteroffer, and all that good stuff. So my answer to you is get in and get moving. The only time, I did say there was an exception. The only time is if you don't want to deal with this and you, A, love your job. B, you love your company. C, you love your boss and you're working 12-hour days. So if you meet those requirements, all four, then you don't have to go in an interview with a company. And if you don't meet all four of those, then get in and get talking. Okay, Rob, great question. AG, can you talk about how a boss avatar can help you write a boss hunting message? I realize this topic might be too complicated for office hours. Amanda, you asked the question. Your coach is here to serve up the answer. So for those of you that don't speak Coach Andy or know what Amanda is asking, that's AG, there is a very, very good technique that I teach to my premium members about how to put an avatar together of who you're ultimately targeting. It's like anybody who's in marketing understanding who their prospective customer is. What are their pain points? What are their goals? What are they looking for? What would make their life easy? And so on and so forth. And you list all this information out. Amanda, let's strip it down. Don't get lost in the boss avatar. All you're doing is you're trying to get a better picture of what that boss might be like so that you could spend more time thinking about the boss than you're thinking about yourself. It's better to be leaning on that when you go into an interview, but the value to peel out of that before you even get into the interview while you're searching is, remember, we are always trying to highlight for someone how we've achieved goals that they likely have by overcoming problems that they likely have. So your boss avatar, you want to lean heavily on the goals you think the boss has as it relates to whatever that boss is doing. In your case, that boss is marketing something, a product, a service, something of that nature. And so you know that boss, every one of your boss avatars is going to have on its goals increased brand awareness, increased lead generation, do it as fast as possible, do it for as cheaply as possible. The problems that they're going to have are going to be different depending on who the organization is. But generally speaking, all the marketing departments, they have a finite number of problems that they're trying to overcome. Some can overcome them easily, and others might not even have these issues, and others might be struggling with some or all of them. What you should do in the boss avatar is speculate what an inclusive list looks like. So the problems that the boss has in marketing is maybe they don't have a very well-known brand. I coached a woman yesterday who's interviewing with a well-known brand company. The problem for this company is they're well-known for this. They're not well-known for the area that she's going into, and she's going to have to overcome challenges when she goes and sells or develop the accounts because she's going to have to reshape the brand or let them know that they offer additional products and services. That could be another problem. A problem could be they don't know how to run events. The problem could be they're only well-known locally. The problem could be they don't have any international presence. The problem could be they don't know how to run an ad. The problem could be they don't know how to run a campaign. There could be many. The problem could be they know how to run all those things. They don't know how to collect the data. They don't know how to collect the data. They don't know how to extract it. They don't know how to extract it and manipulate it to identify the best targets. It could be all of these things. For simplicity's sake, when you are targeting a boss and you're creating a boss hunting cover letter or email, all you're trying to do is highlight how you've helped organizations achieve the general goals by overcoming the general problems. That's it. Don't overthink it. When you get into the interview, I want you to take one of your templates of your boss avatars. I want you to think about the boss you're going to go interview, and then I want you to obsess over them. Every single time, let me give you a great example. Right after this, we're going to be on for about 45 minutes. The reason we're only on for 45 minutes is because my afternoon is filled with coaching sessions, and I got to get to those people, and they're all stacked up. Before every single coaching session, here's my next one. Here's a pack of paper and a whole bunch of stuff that this woman sent me. She's interviewing for a big time job. I've read her stuff yesterday. I looked at it again this morning, and I'm going to sit for 5 minutes before she's my 1 o'clock. I'm going to sit for 5 minutes before I see her, and I'm going to think about her. And I'm going to think about what it must be like to be her. I haven't even met her yet, but I'm going to meet her at 1 o'clock. And I'm thinking about what her issues are, and I'm thinking about what she's struggling with. It gets me in such a great frame of mind to actually coach her, be empathetic, understand she doesn't know what I know. Think about what she has gone through, I kid you not, something like 6 interviews already. And she's going to be interviewing with the president. I'm thinking about all of this. I'm thinking about the fact that the brochure that she sent me didn't just say she's got to meet with this company. She's got to go meet with this client's company. So I've got questions for her. This is me thinking about the avatar of the person I'm coaching. This is what I want you to all to do when you go into an interview. It's going to put you in such a better frame of mind. And so until you get to that interview, when you're in the search itself and you're trying to reach out to these people who you don't even know. I was thinking about this woman before she even bought my program. That's what I mean about the energy you put into thinking about who you want to work with, who you want to target, how you want to help them, what they might be struggling with. That's what the avatar does for you. It gets you synced up with that metaphysically. But that's a great question. But I'm guessing you're overthinking the boss hunting messaging. But you and I will meet on that, and we will rectify that. So I hope that helps. And for any of you that don't know what I'm talking about, check out my boss hunting stuff on in the free domain. And if you are in the premium program, which happens to be on special right now through the promotion of the resume workshop, it's in the job search challenge, and there's a boss hunting and boss avatar, different sections in the job search challenge. Okay, great couple of questions to kick us off. One about money, one about targeting, and I conflated it with interviewing. What else? Blossoms Stevens, do you have examples of great messages to send when networking on LinkedIn for a sales role with contacts at your target company? I do. I have a whole networking booklet in my job search coaching program. And if you are, I don't know if you are in that program, although your name is really familiar, so you might be. But if you are not in, or if you're in the program, the Boss Hunting Bible is equally as good, depending on whether you know the person or not. And then if you are looking in the free domain, what I would do is there is a video that I have on job search networking where I talk about the 7 emotional triggers and the best basically emotions to hit and everything that needs to be included in a networking message. And then I also do have a couple of free boss hunting cover letters. And when I say cover letter, I mean email, as opposed to like the thing that you attach in an application, which I never want you to fill out. So I would check those out and I would just grab them. I'm not going to read them to you. I give them to you free. All right, let's see. Baby girl, what's up, Cherry? Before your end, please guide me on how to open a conversation with my manager to request a raise. I would love to get together. Cherry, you have the leadership stuff, so I'm just going to direct you to this, but I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to tell you where to go. First thing I want you to do is I want you to not say anything. If we're going into the end of the year, you're going to have an opportunity to discuss a lot of these things with your boss. You're likely going to go through a performance review. But if it's unclear as to whether you're going to get a raise, one of the things that I would do is I would say to my boss, I've done some reflection on my accomplishments over the past year and prior. Now, don't just make it about the last year. I've collected some data. I'm going to get it ready for our discussion later in the year, the performance review, the annual review, whatever it might be. And just say, I would also love to talk with you about if there's a possibility to increase my compensation. And that's it. Now you've alerted the person, but you're not going to make your argument on the fly in the hallway. or on the phone or in the Slack channel with a ping or whatever. You're going to pull together all the information that I give you in the leadership program that you should be collecting as part of, we just did this one, you were there, the employee playbook, the year-end playbook. You're also going to meet with me in a few weeks on negotiating your pay raise and your employee value proposition. We're going to put that together on October 19th, I think that is. So you're going to have that. And then the performance review is in November. The performance review session for you and me is in November. So you're going to have all of that before the end of the year comes. You'll have plenty of time to pull it all together. And it's deep. So you can check out last year's version or rendition of that. It's in your library. So in the success and high performance section of your library, those are all in there. And you could look at last year's renditions if you want. But we're going to do the new stuff live October 19th, November, middle of the month, whenever that is. And then December, we're going to do the goal setting one and the reflection one. So I hope that helps. Brad, what's up? I have an interview tomorrow with someone who could feel threatened by my experience. What's the best way to approach to help reduce any fears if they exist? Okay, Brad, first thing, erase that from your mind. Okay, just the more you're worried about that, the greater the likelihood that you're going to stumble in the interview. If you are congenial, empathetic, and all the other things I want you to be, and you approach it in, I want to join the organization because I believe in its mission and its vision and the goals and where you're going and the strategic direction, and I feel that what I have can really contribute to that, that's great. If you want to talk about this person who's going to be threatened, I'm assuming that you mean that that's your boss. You don't talk in a manner of how much, how they should be threatened by you. You talk about how much you can do to help them. And try literally not to let it enter your mind. And it's all about how can I contribute and how can I help you? It isn't about I want to take your seat. And the one thing that I would say, and the reason I would rather you do that is because A players hire A players and B players hire C players. So if this person is in fact threatened by you and does not want you to join the organization, you don't want to be there. So that's what I would say. And I just have faith that wherever I go and whoever I talk to, it's always going to work out for my benefit if I approach it the right way. I honestly, I wouldn't even think about it. I really wouldn't. I think it's going to throw you off your game. Great question, but I just wouldn't put a lot of energy in it. Let me see about Blake. This is a good question. How to change messaging for value add when the industry has changed post-pandemic? I can still get results, but the stories are different now. You got to adjust your stories. You have to adapt your stories based on what's in front of you, not what's behind you. You literally need to recalibrate them. And this can be done. I spent yesterday afternoon with a woman who has a lot of different experiences and only a small amount of experience for the organization she's interviewing with tomorrow, in fact. And one of the things that we do when we make sure that we align the stories, actually I had to do this 3 or 4 times this week, is you need to make sure that you are using language. You are aligning your stories using language that moves the story forward. So I was working with a woman who is an instructional coach and was working for a school. She is interviewing with a commercial organization, so she's qualified, but many of her stories are school related. So we literally we worked her story, removed all school referencing, meaning we changed her vocabulary so she actually could tell the story and use terminology that they would use, not that she used in the past. And so if you are already in the industry, I assure you can do this. Now, without knowing your exact story, I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what to change and how to change it. The other thing that you can do, this is okay, so that was a couple days ago. Yesterday, I worked with a woman, and with her story, one of the things that I told her I wanted her to do as a prerequisite was reshape the way the listener heard what she was about to say. So let me give you an example. She is going to be interviewing with a well-known company to help them with their call center solution. It's a technological solution that they're not very well known for. That's a problem, not well known. It's call center solution in the healthcare industry, of which she has a story where she helped a healthcare system. She had helped the healthcare system by selling them a software as a service that wasn't even their primary piece of software. It was an overlay that allowed them to actually move their local-based data to the cloud and also help them with the data analytics. So they had operational software that they were using, but the key problem was they had the operating data, but they couldn't use the operating data to actually get the value that they needed. And so what I said to her is, I need you to map your experience and problems so that the person who's listening to you hears it just like it sounds like it's his company. Okay, so what we did was we said, okay, so she's a seller. She's going to be developing accounts. So obviously she has to have the sales skills. That's the least of her problems and the least of my worries. So what I said to her was, I want you to get this story out with the hiring official really early. I want you to take your most relatable story and say, so I had this healthcare network, so a healthcare solution, repeat it. Then say, they actually, my organization needed to help them with a software as a service solution that was going to enable them to talk about the data part, because that's what the solution is over here. So they wanted you to have healthcare. They wanted you to understand how this solution was working. And then the problem from a sales standpoint is, from a marketing standpoint, they're not very well known for this solution. So I wanted her to repeat each of these and say, and so we had multiple problems for my client, boom, boom, just like your clients will have. And then we had a marketing issue because even though we were a leader like you, we were not known for this. Okay, so what she's doing is she's saying, what the story you're about to hear is exactly like what you're going to need me to do for you. Okay, well, she had to back up. She never thought about doing that. She wanted to start with her sales methodology, which I didn't want her to do. That's like the third spot and the least important thing. So you all need to bridge. There is a bridge before you start or immediately when you start to tell them, this is exactly like what you need me to do. You're not going to use those words, but that's what they're going to hear. And so the question you're asking me is fantastic, but I'm telling you that any story can be converted if it's remotely close. This solution that she was doing was just a software as a services solution. That's what her company sold. And it was related to data that extracted data from other systems. It's nothing like what she's going to sell over here, other than it's for data usage purposes. This solution over here is for data usage purposes. It's a totally different product. So you can make it sound almost exact by picking the right terms. And I'm doing this a lot, and I do this a lot because, let's be honest, show of hands, right? How many of you, when you go into an interview for an environment you've never been in before, and even if you sold software as a service, you never sold that product before. So you have to do some mapping. So everybody has to do this. These are great questions. Okay, Nelson. If the situation comes up where money is lower than what I was earning before, but I have been on the hunt for a very long time, it is risky to negotiate. First thing I'm going to tell you, Nelson, is I want you to watch the salary negotiation workshop. It literally will answer every single question that will ever come to your mind for the rest of your life. So that's the first thing. And I cover this and many others like it. First thing you need to know, negotiating power does not come from your situation. It does not come from your history. It comes from here and here. That's it, period. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter how much you earned. It doesn't matter how little you earned, how much you earned, and any of that. It doesn't matter if you're out of work for a day, a week, a year, or 10 years. It makes no difference. It makes a difference to you because you got all this internal noise. The signal coming out of your mouth is all static up here, it's noisy up here, and you're nervous. So on the surface, that's the answer to that. However, I'm not going to leave you hanging there because I appreciate the situation you're in. So if you get in and they're looking at you and they think, well, you've been out of work for a little while. I don't care that you've been out of work. You got a great background and you had a lot of years where you were really providing great accounting value to some really great organizations. All right. So when you get into this environment and you're interviewing, you're going to you're going to interview the heck out of it. You're going to make sure that you're doing all the things throughout the interviewing process that I coach you to do in the workshop. And then when you get down to the end, it doesn't matter what they offer you. You're going to show them your salary negotiation grid. You're going to show them the areas that you're going to focus on, what the objectives are, what the value attainment's going to look like, what that's going to mean for them in terms of yield, and so on. And you're going to make your argument there. And it's all about how effectively you interviewed and how good an argument you can make. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're available and not working right now. If anything, that's a benefit for them because you're available to start immediately. But I believe that they would pay more if you are able to convince them that you are worth more. They're not going to give you more just because you want more. And then there are advanced negotiation tactics that you use at the 11th hour only that speak to your personal situation about earning more or combat pay or anything else. I go through all these with you about how you pull them out at the very, very end and you wait till the last possible second for multiple reasons. So for those of you that don't know what I'm speaking about, what Nelson is saying is, well, I used to earn more and they want to give me less. Now let's just strip this down and take all the emotion out of it. What you used to earn is not our problem, right? Not my problem. I'm looking at you and I'm deciding two things. Do I like you? I'm going to hire you. I'm going to give you an offer. So then I'm thinking two things. How much do I think you're worth based on the value you're going to help me realize? And simultaneously, how much value am I willing to put on this function no matter who's in it? If I had the king of social media marketing that came to me and said, Andy, I'm the best in the world ever, has been, ever will be. This is my rate. I'm going to say, I don't care because you, as good as you are, can only maximize my yield to here. Why would I overpay? Okay, that's me attaching a value to a function. All right, now, when I get with Nelson and Nelson takes me all the way through and I really like him and I want him to take my offer and I give him an offer that's less than he's earning or has earned historically. At this point, once I give him the offer, I want him to take it, but he's got to make a good argument by value. What the market pays, I don't care about that either. I'm telling you, I'm giving you this offer. I don't know what other companies are paying. Go over there if you want. All right, then the further along we get, the longer this takes for me to find the right person, and now I've settled on Nelson, I now have a sunk cost bias that I'm attaching to all the time I spent in pain without the right resource. The interviewing process, that could have been a nightmare. The amount of time it took me to interview Nelson, which could have been 6 weeks or 3 months, I don't know. The amount of time it took somebody to put the offer together for it to get reviewed, for me to get with you, to me to get back to you, for you to counteroffer, and so on. And now if I lose this guy, well, that's going to stink. Okay. But if it gets down to the end and you give me and I'm thinking, I only want to give you 120. You're like, but Andy, I really want this job. I want you to know I was earning 140. I'm okay with a little pay cut, but can you go up any higher? Okay, now what you're doing is you're not appealing to my sense of value. You're appealing to my sense of, Andy, you're gonna have to start over. Andy, but don't you really like me? You're tapping into what I call the teammate syndrome, because the longer he's in the process, the more I am attached to him. It's true emotionally, and I don't want to lose it. And now I'm thinking, is it worth $10,000 for me to start all over? And if it makes him happy that I could meet him halfway, wouldn't that be a good solution? Even though I really don't think he's worth the extra 10, but at this point, I'm buying my time back. So there's so many factors that go into all of these all of these tactics, you need to know when to use it. If you do this in the front of the process, you can go pound sand. I don't care. Go somewhere else. I'm not attached to you. I'll go find somebody else. So there's so many things to consider. Nelson, if you have not seen it, go watch the salary negotiation. And if you've watched it, watch it again. All right. What do we got here? Maggie Z. Hello from a boot camp. Well, hey, Maggie. How can young professionals who return to the job market after a 2-year pause to care for family frame this experience as a strength rather than a setback? Don't even bother. Don't even bother. Don't go into all of that. At the top of your resume, just put returning to the workforce after recent family care since 2023. That's it. Don't try to tell stories about you being on the PTA or PTO or all the organizational skills you need to manage the house. Wait, I appreciate that. Your family appreciates that. But in an interview, you're just burning minutes and you're not selling yourself. It's just not going to put a lot of stock in it. So that's the straight scoop. I mean, I would just don't even worry about it. And a 2-year pause in the overall scheme of your lifetime, while 2 years may have felt like an eternity, it's really a blip. It really is. All right. Let's see. Is it possible to, okay, seriously now, is it possible to negotiate the offer such that I don't have to sign a non-compete? How do I do this diplomatically? So non-competes are really difficult to enforce. Some of them are absolutely ridiculous, so you can negotiate the terms. I don't have a problem with if you say, well, if I sign this non-compete, I'm not going to be able to work for at least a year or two after I leave you. If I want to stay in the same industry, could we waive it? You could negotiate that stuff. But that all to me is diplomatic, because every single aspect that an employer of any compensation or retribution, meaning, hey, okay, seriously now, we're going to give you a sign-on bonus. Money, great, 10 grand, awesome. You got to stay 2 years. Or at the end of year 1, if you haven't made it to year 1, you got to give me 5 back. If you make it into year 2 and don't make it to the end of year 2, you got to give me 5 back. Or if you don't make it through year 1, you give me all 10 back. If you make it past year 1 and into year 2, you give me 5. Well, you could negotiate that out if you want. You could say, no, it's free and clear. It's non-recoverable. Okay, well, all of these, that's retribution. You moved. We paid $25,000 for you to move cities to get here. If you leave within 2 years, you're going to owe us all that back. You could get that waived. You could negotiate on your way out if you're moving. You could get the next company you interview with that hires you to pay this company back. Everything is negotiable. I know all these things because I've negotiated all these things on behalf of people I've recruited or people I've coached. So it's to me, it is diplomatic. Anything you ask for, you just ask diplomatically. It's not that asking for something specific makes you non-diplomatic. So that's a great question. That's really good. God, you guys, you know what? This is like, I'm a little sad that this is going to be a shorter live office hours than most, because these questions, I mean, like, these are really, really good questions. Give yourselves all a pat on the back for damn good questions. All of you, all of these are zingers. 3, 2, 1, what's up? My final interview with a fintech health tech firm was postponed. Sorry to hear. Scheduled 1 week ago. Andy AI is helping me draft a follow-up to HR. How do I keep the excitement for the job interview? Don't even have Andy AI draft one. If the interview was postponed, the email is, I'm really excited to continue. Can you let me know either when the next time we could meet is, or by when you'll know that? Boom, signed, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Nothing else. There's also something you need to show, which is that you're in demand and you're not going to be bothered with organizations that are either disorganized, stringing you along, or ghosting you, or whatever. You're too valuable an asset. Short is good. SW, should you update your LinkedIn and resume if you're doing really limited hours consulting for a company but still looking for work full time? Tell you what, let me put some words in your mouth here just so I could give you a frame of reference and an answer. And I'm going to answer for more scenarios than you asked me. If you are unemployed and you've been unemployed for, let's say, less than a year, like all the way back, and you are looking for work and you do not actually do consulting work, even on a limited basis, do not put Coach Andy's LLC, consulting when you have no clients. Don't do that. I don't care how it does. Just if you have no clients, don't do it at all, ever. If you have limited hours that you are doing, it's really good if you have limited hours you've been doing for multiple clients. Then you talk about the projects you worked on, not the number of hours you work on. And then you can put that on your LinkedIn profile and your resume. But I know what some of you do. You want to look like you haven't been unemployed. That's the least of your worries. Even just because you've been unemployed, that's painful for you. It's not a marker to the employer that you're unhireable. That's not true. Don't let anybody who tells you that, don't let them tell you that. That's just not true. We've had people in the last few weeks that were out of work 2 years got jobs. And so it's not a function of how long you've been out of work. Now, yes, they might ask you, what have you been doing? And I don't have a problem with you saying anything like, hey, it's the first time in my life. I'm in my 40s. I'd never had any time off. I decided to take some time off with the family. I've been looking for the last 8 months. I've been very selective. Fine. End of conversation. So don't get hung up on that. It's okay that you've been out of work. Your issues are you sending out your messages every day? Are you actually targeting organizations and people? If you're stuffing your resume into the applicant trashing system, it's as good as doing nothing but sitting on your hands or playing tiddlywinks all day. Honestly, it is not a great way to actually surface interviews. Yes, some of you will get interviews that way, but that's not a good use of your time. Instead of worrying about how long you've been out of work, I wouldn't even think about it. That is wasted energy. That is wasted noise up here. I would just make sure that you're focusing on your reach outs. Elena, hey Andy, how can you mentally and practically prepare for layoffs that you know are coming, but you don't know if you are going to be affected and your team? Thanks, Elena. I have the most gorgeous. Yeah, I think that might be the right word. 3-part series on layoffs. I did them boom, boom, boom. All you need to do is go to my YouTube channel, type the word layoff, and you will get the 3-part series. It's how to know if they're coming and what to do and how to avoid it, right? How to detect it, how to avoid it, and what to do if it happens. They're beautiful. I mean, literally, I cannot give you a better answer. Just go watch those. I literally tell you the questions to ask to gain the intel. I tell you what to do to become indispensable. And then I tell you what to do in the event it happens. 3-part series. Travisito 77. Would you still apply for a job where the salary range is below your expected salary? Not only would I do that, I would apply for jobs that are above my expected salary, at my expected salary, below my expected salary. You join a company, you do not join a job. So it doesn't matter what the posted salary is. And I will tell you this, if the salary is wide, that's really a great indication that they don't care what they have to pay for the person, because they're saying we'd take somebody we really liked over here, or we'd take somebody we really like over here, or we probably would take somebody even on the outside of that. Again, if you are selecting out because you're looking at I cannot stand the fact that organizations put that number on the job description. And I know a whole bunch of you are out there going, well, geez, Coach Andy, you're nuts because it saves so much time. No, what it does is it eliminates loads of possibilities for you if you're selecting yourself out. Companies will pay more if they get more. The problem is they have to. They either think they have to throw something out there, or they think they're saving themselves time by filtering out you because they put a range, when the simple fact of the matter is that they would have went above the range had the right person applied for the job. and shown them and made a lucid argument that they were worth more. So I'm going to tell any of you that ask me whether you should have. Now, I don't want you to apply. I'm going to go back to what I said before. Previous answer is I would rather you be targeting companies and bosses in particular, teammates or recruiters. I don't want you to apply online. It's a lot of wasted effort. And if you go my route, you're probably not even paying attention to that stuff, which is what I want. So that's again a great question. But I do not want you limiting your possibilities. The fact that many of you are limiting your opportunities based on what is publicly seen and available online, what a company constitutes as an open job. That's 20% of the potential opportunities that exist in the world. And if those are the only ones you're looking at, all right, you're already in a hole. And if you're only then applying to ones that fit a salary range that you think is appropriate, you're really reducing the opportunities for yourself. So, and why do you think I think the numbers are so low? Because they surveyed companies and hiring officials and recruiters for 15 years and asked them what percentage of their hires were for jobs that they advertised. All I need are their aggregated numbers. I literally give them instruction on how to think about the number. Well, every time that you send me a message and this person's profile is better than somebody I have on my team, I'm going to talk to this person. If I've got 10 people on my team, 2 can go, maybe 4 can go, maybe 5 or 6 can go. So if you send me your resume, I might trade them out. The other thing is there are posts we do privately. There are positions that we fill that organizations never advertise. Sometimes they replace people. Sometimes organizations would love to have you fall in their lap. They would create a position for you. They just hadn't had it devised yet, or they didn't know somebody like you existed. There are so many scenarios that are out there that create opportunities for you if you just focus on the companies, getting into the companies. The role that you have is very secondary to the organization you join. If you join the right company, you won't have the job you joined for very long. I want you focusing on that, not limiting your opportunities by what's publicly available. So that's a really good one. And let me see if I can get one more in here. If you're not employed and it's been less than a year, should you update your LinkedIn profile showing you are no longer employed? If you want to, I literally think it makes absolutely zero difference. If you haven't been working since April and it's September, it makes no difference to me. If you just got let go last month, it makes no difference to me. It really doesn't. I want the person I want. I want the person I could fall in love with. I want the person who's dedicated to my company. I want the person who's willing to do anything, whatever it takes. I want the person who's interested in my mission. That's all I care about. And if you happen to not be working, lucky for me. Miserable for you, yes, I understand, because maybe you're not collecting a paycheck, but I'm happy. With it. All right, real quick. It feels like I'm just getting warmed up. We got a great one next week. Every day, 11 o'clock on the YouTube channel. I hope you're subscribed to the station. I hope you click the like button on this video. I know it was short and fast, but sometimes you just need it to be quick. It still gives you a jolt to Andy, Coach Andy's, enthusiasm and all the good stuff that the juju I'm sending you all out to find a great job. Next week, resume writing. Monday, the psychology of resume writing. Tuesday, we're talking career profile. Wednesday, bullets and highlights. There's 2 segments. Thursday, the professional experience section. I'm also going to go into a number of exceptions. On Friday, we're going to talk about some AI commands that I absolutely love. I think I got some case studies in there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We got Q&A every day. The boot camp is on special right now for $300 off. Anybody who's a member of that program will prioritize your questions in the Q&A next week. The following week, October 7, 8, 9, is heavy role play with my job search coaching program members. Multiple hours a day, each day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7, 8, 9. That's a lot of interaction. We'll be hitting everything, but just not the resume because we're covering that next week. All right, sign up, join me, keep an eye on your inbox. I'll have instruction of where to go and all that good stuff. But we start Monday. So really looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you all for showing up today. I know it was quick, but I'm trying to jam in all these coaching sessions because Coach Andy's schedule is light or non-existent on coaching next week because I'm going to be spending all my time with you. Okay, love y'all. See you soon. Take care.